Welcome back to another episode of the Football Fun Dates. It is our special FPL episode. I just have to add before we get into this episode, I have somehow escaped a terrible game week, a terrible game week score. I got a mere 43 points and I'm still somehow in the top 10K. So, all the FPL gods who bless me, thank you so much. Kern, I shared a screenshot with you of all the players I don't have after the deadline, right?
Yeah.
No KDB, no Jota, no Vardy, no Grealish, no Martinez, no Mings, no Cresswell, no. And
Yeah.
uh, just that Vardy, we just escaped a few close calls. And with Grealish and Watkins, that last minute goal could have just taken me down the ranking so badly. And I'm grateful for VAR just over there. But to get into this episode, guys, we will be sharing our differential picks for this game week, our captain picks, obviously, our transfer strategies and our transfers for this week. So last week we started with Kern's team, and this week we'll show you my team. I have a lot of stitching to do, but I did have a transfer strategy in place and also a wild card in hand. So I'm going to put up my team right now.
Yeah. And before we do that, we're also going to discuss what to do with your Aston Villa assets and Newcastle assets with this week, them not playing obviously because of the COVID tests at Newcastle right now. So, yep, stay tuned for that as well.
I'm honestly surprised, Kern, it took this long for a game to be postponed because of COVID. Looking at the way players are going in and out of the international bubble, but very grateful that it's one game and only one game so far.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to put up my team now. So as you can see, I've had Raheem Sterling. He's been a pain point for me from the very first game week I had him in my team. I think I got him in about game week 4. He's got me returns in one game, but after that, it's just been downhill. Didn't start last game, was my captain. Luckily, Bruno was my vice captain. As you all can see, he saved me. The problem that I have is Kern, and let's talk about Man City assets first, right? Instead of our usual, defense and midfield and strikers.
Yeah.
Sterling is still a good bet. Okay, Pep Guardiola did say that he's not resting the players if they think they're being rested or rotated. He started the players he thought were in form. Sterling played pretty much the whole game, I think, midweek. KDB was rested. Jesus was rested. Cancelo played. So, firstly, midfield. Obviously, KDB is the best bet. If you have neither of the City assets, KDB is a safe pick. But is there merit keeping in Sterling in your side? He's dropped to 11.4. And second, what about Mahrez? Mahrez was rested too midweek.
My thing is with City, why not go for the safe option? Looking at the pictures I've read, we look at Fulham and West Brom as the target, the thing, and they're facing them, both of them in the next 3 weeks, with United being the game in the middle, who as well aren't the most convincing right now, right? So there could easily be goals for City in that game, as much as I'd hate to say it. I think just go for, you don't want to miss out on these games with your returns, right? As with you, Annie, last week, you said you got saved just about, you held on to your top 10. But if you had De Bruyne instead, you'd be far further ahead. I would say if you're looking at who to keep through this run of fixtures, KDB, he looked great again. He got the points. He could have easily got more. He's getting a lot of shots away as well. He's looking to score a lot more this season. He's taking a lot more shots, especially with the absence of Aguero. I think KDB is the easy option between them. PS Mahrez got a hat-trick last week, but he had 1 goal and 1 assist before that all season. The last time he scored a brace, in fact, was back in game week 30 plus of last season. So it's been a while since Mahrez got those returns as well, right? So with the fixtures coming up, if it were tricky fixtures where just like 1-2 goals between them, I'd be like, sure. But with these fixtures that can have massive returns, I would pick the safer option of KDB, who is still explosive. Yes, Sterling can easily just, 1 week get 2-3 goals. But over the course of many games, I think that sort of pans out, and De Bruyne helps you like breathe easier.
Yeah, so Kern, the ideal midfield with De Bruyne in it would be De Bruyne, Salah, Bruno, Grealish, Jota. We discussed about a double up last week and I said it. A Salah Jota double up could happen easily. I almost went for it, but I was reaching -8 and I'm like, I'm just not comfortable. I knew Brighton, they would get goals, but I had a feeling it might just be a 2-1. And I'm calculating, will that -8 pan out in the long run? I said, if you make a single move for Jota, it could. And if you got Jota in, well done. It really will, I think, work out well for you, especially because they've now qualified in the Champions League. So they will be resting their players in their last game against Midtjylland. So the ideal midfield City asset would be KDB, Salah, Bruno, if you could work those in there with a Grealish because he's at 7.8, correct? Jota 6.9 in the last price rise. Imagine if the Foden was still starting, right? Gone every week at 6.5, City asset in there as well. You don't have to stress about KDB because Foden was so attacking last season. Towards the end of it, he was getting those returns as well. Let's talk a bit about Bruno now. And why I talk about it, because someone like me who doesn't have Salah, and a lot of managers who took out Salah, and not a lot of them got him back in for the last game week, for game week 10. Looking at the way fixtures pan out, Liverpool's fixtures, let's look at that first and look at Salah, Jota, maybe Mane. They have better fixtures, hands down. So would you think there's a case that even if you have Fernandes, maybe leave him on till the City game and then move him on to get Salah in? Or do you think you should really focus on that star-studded 5% midfield, dumb down on your strikers, and just go all out in midfield?
See, if you're talking whether Bruno needs to be moved on for Salah, I think it's a tricky one because Salah is a must-have in your teams. Right? Yes, Wolves at home. Next one might not be the easiest one, but after that it's Fulham away, which again is a fixture target. Then it's Spurs, not that easy, but then Crystal Palace, West Brom, Newcastle, Southampton. So great run of fixtures.
Indeed.
The problem with Man United is inconsistency. So it doesn't matter who they're playing, what they're playing. I honestly think Man United's fixtures run does not affect their returns because they easily, get the points against the likes of City every now and then, but then they falter again the likes of West Brom, right? Just get the single goal.
Plus, they're better away this season, so they're playing away West Ham. Although it's good to point out that United in the last, I think, 10 or 12 games against West Ham have won only 4. So, just throwing that out there.
I mean, but Bruno has got, in every away game this season, Bruno's got a double-figure return.
Yeah, returns.
A double-figure return, that not only some return, but a proper double-digit return. Since he joined United, no midfielder in the Premier League has had more involvement goals and assists rate than him. So I think he's a must-have. The thing with Liverpool is now with Jota, you are getting an alternate option. So even if you are going heavy on your forward line, you have that alternate option in Liverpool bringing in Jota instead of Salah. You don't have that option at United. Everything that happens at United goes through Bruno. Everything that happens at Liverpool used to go through Salah, but now Jota is sort of taking that away, bringing down Mane's appeal. So I think right now it's either Salah or Jota. I think both of them are just taking too much away from Mane at this point, especially with penalties and this and that. Salah is the safer option, but just the cheapness of it, right? But if we're comparing them to having premium midfielders or forwards, my personal thing is premium midfield. So I have Salah, De Bruyne, Bruno, Ziyech and Grealish right now, and a forward line of Bamford and DCL. But if
that's the best you can do though. If you want this kind of midfield, which is a fair midfield, we'll come to Aston Villa just right after this now. Crazy fixture run as well. Grealish was doing well. No reason not to have that kind of midfield, especially when I've stuck with Kane from the start, and that's the reason why I'm in the top 10K. But they're fizzling out now, like people predicted. You take out a Kane, you did that last week. Kearns moved that for everyone who's watching it right now. Kern took out Kane for Bamford, and that's almost like a 4 million difference. Like a 4 million difference in which he upgraded 2 midfielders, and that's where you reach that star-studded midfield, which is really like a dream midfield because they will get you those goals. Yes, Ziyech didn't deliver in the last 2 weeks, but I don't think he's Pulisic Kern. I don't think he's assist of the assister. I think he's very unlucky because the way he's putting those balls in, no one's reading it yet. Yeah,
I think once the Chelsea team start clicking, Ziyech's returns will come. Patience is running low. If I'm very honest, I'll see maybe 1 more week, max 2, and see how that goes. Let's see what happens there. But yeah, I mean, if we're just going back to what we're saying about premium midfield over a premium forward, the only one that sort of puts a spanner in the wrench is Vardy, because his fixtures are fantastic right now, right? Yes, they have Sheffield United away, then Brighton at home, then Everton at home. All 3 fixtures that can have goals in them, right? Not teams that are necessarily keeping, very tight defenses. So Vardy is the only one there that could screw things up. And if you do want Vardy, then I think Jota is a good option to have sort of neutralize things.
Yeah, an interesting point about Vardy. And before we move into more of a shake-up from there, and I'll cover that when I discuss my transfers for this week. Let's go back to Ziyech, because you said, even I kind of was thinking that maybe this week, so he's one of my possible moves that I'll consider, downgrading Ziyech to Jota. Maybe just keep that one free transfer and save on it for the next week, because yes, I know Kane is doubtful and stuff, but North London derby, Arsenal look like they're there for the taking. Normally when Arsenal are that vulnerable, they show up though, so I'm nervous there. But Chelsea, again, everyone is fit now. There's Pulisic, Havertz fit, Werner fit, Werner, Ziyech getting enough rest as well. Pulisic got some game time. Chilwell was rested, so obviously, Chilwell, I'm not going to talk much about him. Definitely nailed on in your side. If though you're looking to get a Chelsea asset into your team, Mendy, the keeper, is really not a bad shout out, because he's been doing great, since he's come in. One of the reasons why Mendy is appealing now is not just because of his price not being too great, not being at 5.5 range, but the fact that he's helped keep clean sheets with Chelsea's side. Instantaneous change keep out, Mendy in, right? So that's the defense bit. But if you're looking at midfield, Leeds will concede chances. Yes, Leeds might score, but Leeds will give away those chances. And the way the Chelsea are looking that they're finally cohesive, hold on to, maybe don't get in Pulisic or Ziyech or Havertz for 1 week. But if you have Ziyech, maybe hold one more week. The way I'm seeing it is, if you don't have Jota, if you don't have Salah, and you want to get a Liverpool player into this game week already against Wolves. The Wolves are not an easy side, obviously, to score against. They look solid, but that's the only temptation that I have, Jota in for Ziyech, if you don't have a Liverpool asset like me. So for me, I might consider maybe Ziyech out for Jota. Otherwise, I would say still hold on Ziyech. Kern, anything on Chelsea for you?
No, the same, man. Hold on to Ziyech if you have him. Not necessarily bring them in at this point, because they're not convincing yet. But yeah, they've got rest. They look cohesive. Those returns should be coming soon. And if I were to pick between Werner and Ziyech, I would say Ziyech, cheaper price point. Werner still playing out on the left, which is still really annoying. If you have that good a number 9 and you play him out on the left, right? In general, as a Chelsea fan, it would be annoying, I'm sure. But even as for fantasy managers, we are banking on Werner going absolutely crazy. So Ziyech is the pick for me.
Yeah, my other move this week was going to be Son out for Grealish or Jota again there, and Ziyech and Son balance that out and leave Kane in just in case. But yeah, the Aston Villa Newcastle game has thrown a wrench in those transfer plans. But yes, for everyone now wondering if we come to our Spurs assets, is it worth removing Son and Kane? Yes, the case has been made. They've been poor in terms of the shots they've had at target, Kane and Son, the number of chances Spurs have created in general. Yes, they were tough games, obviously, versus Chelsea was a tough game. But you can see the downward trend already. It started with the Brighton game before that. So it's not like it was just two big games.
Yeah.
In that case, and that's where I will now come in with my transfer tips for this week. That's what I'm considering 200%. You want to reshape the midfield that Kerr was talking about, the dream midfield. Kane out definitely. If you don't have a Chelsea player, you can consider Werner because he was rested. Chelsea have decent fixtures coming up. You can take Vardy, obviously, because Vardy has a good couple of fixtures coming himself. Pereira, the defense is fit over there again. All the players are coming back. So Leicester look more of a whole unit. And you can add that 1 million, or if you go to Werner, almost 2 million, 1.5 million, put that into your defense. So you could have into your midfield, So you could have Jota, Grealish, or Ziyech, Fernandes, Salah, and KDB. You can get all those players in. And that ideally is the team you want to look at going in for the next couple of game weeks. Let's say it'll give game week 14. Once we are into game week 15, I think the rotation is going to start again, right? Because Boxing Day, 3 games in 7 days, so that'll be a tough one. Maybe the wildcard comes in after that. So I would recommend that if you have your Spurs assets coming up against Arsenal and you want to take them out, it is not a bad bet so far. Maybe hold on to Son, but Kane going out could be very well worth it. Not because of the injury mark. That's not fooling me. It's Mourinho. But again, it's one of those moves that you add better balance to your midfield, like we've been talking about. So that's where I'm confused. So like I said, it could either be Kane out for me to Vardy or Kane out for me to Werner. And I would upgrade. I would remove Son or Ziyech for Jota, and let's see what happens with Salah, and maybe get him in for the next week against Fulham. So build up for the next 3 game weeks. That's what you would get when you get rid of a Harry Kane in your side. Kern, would you
Yeah, and
recommend
if you
that?
look at Spurs, if you look at Spurs fixtures, Northern Derby always has goals in it, but Arsenal, for all that they've not been able to doing going forward, they are strong defensively, and I don't think he's going to risk, suddenly just going fully attacking and losing the North London Derby and further uh, getting his job into trouble, right?
So
He's
confusing
not
though,
one
right?
that,
Like you
yeah.
heard me when I was talking. Part of me is telling me, really, are you recommending removing these guys out? And I'm like, yeah, they have Palace next as well, but they have been creating lesser and lesser chances. So
See, my thing is, one is that the other is you have to think of it not just from one game week to the other as well, right? Yes, you look at, so if you look at the people who are going to get you massive points this week, and you want to bring them in for that haul chasing, then that's the City assets. You go for De Bruyne or Sterling or whatever, right? That's done. The Kane does not match that barrier specifically. And if you're looking over game weeks, right? If you look at Spurs, they've had tough run of fixture, not easing up. Yes, Arsenal home, Crystal Palace away, then Liverpool away, then Leicester at home, not necessarily easy. Wolves away, again, not the easiest team, right? So up until game week 15, back-to-back fixtures, fixture congestion, tough ones, not really seeing much ease up. Whereas over that period, if you get in the likes of a KDB or a Salah, it can help you reap those rewards. The point being, look at it as multiple weeks and not just just this single game week. Because even if you look at it as just this single game week, uh, if you don't have KDB in your team, you want to bring him in. If you don't have Salah in your team, you want to bring him in.
yeah, fair enough. Let's then look at your midfield again. So it would also make sense if you would, for example, take out take out the likes of Son, and maybe even double up on City assets in midfield, right? Because you are expecting them to do well against Fulham. So you could also take out, if you have KDB already, you could take out of Son idly for a Mahrez. He's in form, rested midweek. 1 million in the bank will be added once you take out Son. You could use that 1 million when you want to mess it up, change it up next week also, right? Mahrez is moving away from the differential part of it, but he's still lowly owned. So he's a good person to have. Uh, Now let's look at the other option, like you said. We're talking about Jamie Vardy and we're talking about Leicester, right? So Kane to Jamie Vardy would be about, Jamie Vardy is at 10.3. So in terms of saving money and adding to midfield, not much to move around, but just enough if you're looking to make a small change here and there, like a Grealish, because Aston Villa are not there this game week. And that's if you have a very bad team and you have possible 0 subs on your bench like me, right? As you can see. So that would make sense. Otherwise, I would still say, I don't know, man, Kern, we've been talking about Vardy so much, just maybe not, just not again, right? I don't know.
His fixtures are there, man. Should be there. And I think again, VR ruled something out for them late, or Vardy could have added to his returns. Uh, Again, as I said, the fixture run is great. The next 3 games, Sheffield United away, who obviously aren't doing that well. Brighton at home, again a side that likes to attack. Everton at home, who have been conceding a lot. The next 3 fixtures, there are goals for the taking. Uh, it all depends on the balance in your team. I would rather have my guaranteed midfield assets who are giving me the scoring returns and can easily go down on my forwards. So obviously Newcastle's whole COVID situation has screwed things up a bit. But my move for next week, not this week, was going to be Bamford to Wilson. Wilson's been getting returns. Yes, we did discuss him and said, okay, not that interesting, but can't ignore him much longer. And potential double game week coming in, plus West Brom at home, Leeds away, and Fulham at home. Right, so West Brom and Fulham both at home uh, in the next 4 fixtures, including a potential double game week. So I think upgrading your midfield and then looking at those sort of forwards isn't a bad option, especially when Vardy is not necessarily giving you the big returns week on week, and the other ones could, whereas your midfielders are giving you the returns week on week. So why, bird in hand versus two in the bush, right? yes, you need to be a little risk taking. So it depends on that appetite. But I'd say it depends on the balance of your team completely. Midfield should be priority right now with good value assets available in the forward line with the likes of Wilson. Next game week onwards, not this game week.
Yeah, fair point, because I would also look at it that way. Look, I have my wild card, and every time I think of using it, every week there's a challenge, and then I'm like, oh, not today, not today. I feel I have let myself down a bit by not using my wild card 2 game weeks back. But I look at it again now, and I'm like, you know what? If I use it this game week, I want to get in Grealish eventually for the possible double game week that could come up with them, right?
Yeah.
Possibility could be a double game week the week after, where they're playing the first game, or they're playing against West Brom, or they're playing against Aston Villa in the end, Newcastle, Aston Villa. Or we could also have a case where the outbreak has gotten worse and they could again cancel the game against West Brom. So we just don't know in terms of Newcastle what to add or what not to add there. But Aston Villa will be playing next week from what we can tell. So if you have Grealish in your side, put him on your bench. Hopefully you have a good enough bench. Taking him out for one game week doesn't work. And if you want to punt it, Jota is a safe punt. Maybe, just about maybe, if you have the money in the bank, a Mahrez KDB double up could also work this game week. Okay, Gern.
The other one that I want to actually bring up, Annie, with Villa, and it's something that I'm facing, is the keeper. Lots of people have Martinez in goal and no second keeper like me. So what to do with that? I am strongly thinking of moving him on. Martinez only got 2 clean sheets in the last 4 for the season, and I'm thinking of replacing him with McCarthy, as you have both have 4 clean sheets. Martinez has 2 in the last 6, McCarthy 2 in the last 5. So if you just look at last 5 game weeks, it's sort of better, cheaper options. You probably get 0.1 in the bank, and long term anyway, Martinez could easily be replaced with McCarthy. So if you're looking at a keeper move, if you have the money, then as Annie said earlier, Mendy currently at 5.2, great pick. Chelsea are keeping clean sheets. So Mendy is a good option. It's just that I don't want to double up Mendy plus Chilwell yet, and I don't want to spend that much on my keeper. Easily a good double up, but I don't want to spend that much on my keeper. So yeah, if you're looking keeper moving on Martinez to McCarthy, it's a good sideways move, because anyway, it's not like holding on to Martinez gives you as much value as holding on to a Grealish.
Yeah, okay. So we're pretty much done with covering positions and the fixtures to really talk about. If you have, let's say now, I'm coming to Everton, Gone. I have, like you all can see, I've kept Taylor in my team. Primarily because I had no option. I don't want to waste a transfer on a defender this week. But also, when you see there's no Seamus Coleman, no DNA, Everton side don't look the most convincing, like you saw them against Leeds. But it was Leeds. Leeds are a very, very attacking side, and they were constantly at Everton. In another game, they could have had a goal or two themselves with Charlton back, I think I'll keep it as it is, my defense. I won't be moving on. I know I have Chilwell and I have Taylor. Both of them could concede goals because they're playing against teams who will get those goals. I think I'll hold on to that. Justin is actually my worry. Now, that's where I come to this now, my point. Kilman will hopefully come out because Kilman didn't start the last game for Wolves. Justin might just make way for one of the returning Leicester wingers. That's where I'm a bit worried. So, if I had to round up the transfer I could possibly make to take a -4, I would then be forced to definitely leave Ziyech in their side, take out Kane, and move on one of Justin and Taylor and get in another defender who probably will get me those points. Ideally, I'll move on Justin because maybe in a week or two from now, he might be leaving the team anyway.
Yep.
But I could also maybe take a shot in the dark, leave Justin on my bench, or take a chance with him and move out Kilman for a Cresswell, a Kufal, two players whom I have my eye on, who would be a good, reasonable price. Kufal especially at 4.5. Cresswell expensive, but the money will be available once I take out Harry Kane. And if I decide to hold on to my defense as it is, I would still consider for a -4, Kane out to maybe a Werner, maybe a Vardy, not to convince still, maybe, it's a big maybe. And then still consider taking out, so I would then leave in Son in that case, and then attack Ziyech out for Jota. That's what I think will happen. Kurt, anything else before we move on to, let's say, our differentials, captain picks?
No, I mean, just ahead of differentials, and watch list, I have so many picks that I have for next week. Like this week, I'm like, okay, there's so many players who caught my eye over the weekend, and we'll discuss it. But yeah,
I
they
know
just don't appeal that much for this
I've
week.
said Jota 12 million times, but you have to understand he's playing back, coming back to Wolves.
Yeah.
It's it's a big game. It's a big game for him. You never know. He might, and he was taken off against Atlanta. He didn't Ajax. Sorry, he didn't play the whole game, so he has got some rest there. So I do expect him to start, right? So at that price point, it's like no brainer. So gone differentials, and I'm going to come back to the City asset. I spoke about Jesus 2 weeks back. Did start, got an assist that time. Last week I went for a very differential in James Milner. Didn't work out. Poor guy pulled his hamstring. I'm going to return back to Jesus. His ownership is just 2% ish. Aguero is not going to be pushed back. Pep had made it clear. Jesus was rested midweek, like I said earlier. They're playing Fulham. I think there's still a better chance that Sterling could still be benched again and Jesus starts up front. Mahrez on the right. Maybe Ferran Torres, the way he looks at it. De Bruyne. So I think Jesus looks very, 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 very appealing to me.
Yeah, man, great pick. I have one again, like my differential is the same as the one last week. Tammy Abraham. I think he's still appealing, still Chelsea's main forward as of now. Again, same things that I said last week, getting the supply that Werner should have. In fact, Werner supplying to him and all of that. The couple of the other ones that I was saying, right, like who caught my eye but don't necessarily have the great fixtures this week are Pedro Neto and Rafinha. Right, I think if people are going heavy forwards and have the slot for a budget to mid-price midfielder, those two are good options to look at. Both of them are very involved with what their teams are doing. Leeds are attacking a lot, and Rafinha was finding himself at the end of a lot. I think he got attacking returns this game as well. I would look at those options if this week fixtures may not be there, but if you're taking a punt or looking at a long-term move anyway, those would be my differential picks.
Okay, moving on to our captain picks. Definitely a City player. I have optimistically left Sterling here for now. I'm just so confused. And like I told you, I think I see myself taking a -4 very easily. And the other one being like, you know what, let's assume I leave Harry Kane. Would I then consider taking Sterling out for KD because I have the money in the bank? And still Ziyech to Jota, I don't know. It's so confusing. But yes, has to be KDB if you have them in your squad. Number one pick for me. Second pick would still, shockingly and surprisingly, still for me be Bruno Fernandes. He shows up in every away game. Form of the side or consistency is not mattered to him. He gets those returns. So I think he's number 2 by default, like a deputy right there. And if you're looking for a differential captain pick this week, would definitely be a split between Jesus, Sterling, / any attacking midfield City player that Pep decides to start.
I think same. De Bruyne gets my captain pick easy this week. Bruno's got the vice captain. Although I'm a little scared this week. West Ham have been doing better defensively.
Antonio's back.
Antonio, and as soon as you see United get, the scare is that as soon as you see them do 3-4 good games, yes, they already screwed up the game midweek. So hopefully the weekend is a response to that. But you generally see them having 1 or 2 bad games before they get another response, right? Just seeing that thing, like obviously the United fan on me also think otherwise, but I'm just looking at it objectively. Then just seeing by how the team has performed in the past, then there could be a minor blip this weekend, maybe just a 1-0 or something here and there.
So in that case, would you say it is wise to look at a Chelsea asset then as a differential captain or like a captain pick? A lot of
I'd honestly then go Salah. Like home game, Liverpool always perform. Why not?
Yeah, I was about to come to Chelsea and then maybe Liverpool. I don't know, normally our captain picks are very quick discussions, but to just add stuff there. Calvert-Lewin against Burnley, someone is being favoured, but I'm thinking Burnley with Pope back, not so easy to score against. So not for me. Obviously not Kane or Son. Arsenal, you never know the way Spurs are. So yeah, Ziyech, Werner, Salah, Jota.
I think honestly, if someone has Kane in their team, if you do have Kane in your team, then it might not be too bad a punt, right? Because if you're, the whole thing is Kane is supposed to show up in these games, North London Derby. If you have him, if you have a forward price that much and you can't captain him, then what's even the point of having him, right? So if I'm thinking if you're going for a differential captain this week, Kane is honestly a good one to go for. He can easily get some returns because these are the kind of fixtures he lives for, right? Uh, so first pick for me this week, KDB. Differential pick if you want to play a little out of the box than Kane.
All right, that sounds good. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning into this episode. Don't forget to hit subscribe on this channel, turn on your notifications so you know when our videos come out. Hit like on this video and all our videos if possible. Follow us on Instagram and on Twitter. You can send in your team, transfer tips if you want them from us. You can send in those messages on any of our social media platforms or the comment section. Happy to get back to you over there. And we'll see you guys in the next episode where hopefully we'll be talking to you after having a very, very, very good game week. And hopefully you all do too. Cheers, guys.
Cheers, guys. Best of luck for the next game week.